A book is not just an object with pages. It is a vessel, a quiet machine that can transport you across centuries without asking you to move a single step. When you hold a book in your hands, you are holding the condensed thoughts, experiences, and dreams of another human being, sometimes one who has been gone for hundreds of years. It is a time machine without gears, one that works only when you open it and allow the words to breathe inside your mind. Suddenly, you are no longer in your room. You are in ancient Greece debating philosophy, in a medieval workshop crafting inventions, in the future, walking under strange suns that have not yet risen in our own sky. Yet this journey is not only about distance or time, it is a flight into imagination. Books are wings for the mind, lifting you beyond the limitations of your immediate surroundings. A small cafe becomes a desert caravan, a crowded bus turns into a ship sailing through storms, and the quiet of your bedroom becomes the backdrop for an epic battle between ideals and fears. This flight is not bound by the laws of physics. It is fueled by curiosity and sustained by your willingness to surrender to the story. But perhaps the greatest voyage a book offers is not outward at all. It is inward. As you read, you do not merely absorb information, you begin to see yourself reflected in the words. The characters you meet and the worlds you explore become mirrors for your own hidden desires, fears, and questions. Some books take you deep into the labyrinth of your own mind, making you realize that you are both the traveler and the destination. They lead you to parts of yourself you didn't know existed, to chambers within your soul that had been locked away, waiting for the right sentence, the right paragraph to open them. There is also something profoundly human in this act. When you read, you are entering a conversation across time. You are sitting with someone who may have lived centuries ago, yet in that moment you are face to face, mind to mind. The boundaries of geography, language, and history dissolve. A poet from a distant culture becomes a familiar friend. A philosopher from another era speaks as if addressing only you. Through books, we discover that human consciousness is a single vast ocean, and each story is a wave reaching from one shore to another. And in this way, books are freedom. They free you from the narrow cage of your immediate reality, from the walls others may build around your thoughts. Every page is a key, every chapter a door. To read is to choose your own path through the forest of ideas, to wander where your curiosity leads you without permission or restriction. In a world that often tries to decide for you what to think and how to see, a book hands you the wings and lets you decide where to fly. A book, when you truly allow yourself to enter it, is like stepping into a machine that collapses time and distance into a single moment. You can be sitting in the stillness of your own room, the hum of everyday life faint in the background, and yet with the turning of a page, you find yourself standing on the streets of ancient Rome, hearing the chatter of merchants and the clatter of wagon wheels on stone. You can walk alongside explorers mapping uncharted lands, or sit in the study of a scientist centuries ago, watching as they scratch their discoveries onto parchment by candlelight. This is the magic of a book. It does not merely describe a place or an era. It allows you to inhabit it fully, to smell the air, to feel the tension of the times, to witness moments that no longer exist in the physical world. In this way, a book makes you a traveler without borders. It is a passport that never expires, one that requires no visas or tickets. A single sentence can leap decades. A paragraph can erase centuries. You can begin your morning in the Renaissance and end your night in a future that has yet to be imagined. This kind of travel is unlike anything else because it is not limited to what has been captured in photographs or preserved in monuments. It is travel through the minds and hearts of those who lived it, or those who dared to dream it into existence. What makes this journey so profound is that it happens without fanfare. There is no roaring engine, no flashing lights, only the quiet turning of a page, the dance of symbols across paper, and the awakening of images in your mind. And yet, it is more real than most physical travel, because you are not just a visitor observing from a distance. You are part of the unfolding moment. When you read the words of someone long gone, you are breathing the air of their thoughts, walking the pathways of their imagination, and carrying a fragment of their life into your own. Even the way a book handles time is different from our everyday experience. In life, time moves forward relentlessly. In a book, you can pause, go back, and revisit a moment as many times as you wish. You can linger on a single sentence that stirs something within you, or race ahead to see what happens next, bending time to your will. In this sense, reading teaches you that time itself is not as rigid as we believe. It can be stretched, rewound, and explored from different angles. Through this quiet form of travel, books make you realize that the world is far larger than the one you wake up to each morning. They remind you that your life, though grounded in a particular time and place, is part of a much greater story, a story written across centuries in countless voices waiting for you to step inside. Books are not merely objects filled with information, they are wings for the mind. The moment you open one, you are lifting yourself out of the narrow confines of your immediate surroundings and entering a boundless expanse where anything is possible. The chair you are sitting in, the walls around you, even the ticking of the clock, all begin to fade into the background as your mind takes flight. It is a kind of escape, but not the kind that runs away from reality. Rather, it expands reality until it becomes vast enough to hold worlds upon worlds. In these flights, the laws of the physical world no longer apply. You can move from a bustling marketplace in Marrakesh to the icy peaks of the Himalayas within a few lines. You can be a child again, full of wonder, or an elder with centuries of wisdom. You can swim to the bottom of the ocean, stand on the surface of another planet, or sit quietly in the mind of someone you have never met, feeling their joy and sorrow as if it were your own. No airplane, no train, no road can take you to such places. These journeys are driven by imagination and sustained by the willingness to surrender to the flow of words. The remarkable thing about this kind of travel is how deeply it engages your senses, even though your body has not moved. You can smell the smoke of a distant campfire, taste exotic fruits you have never seen in real life, and hear the rustle of leaves in a forest that exists only in the mind's eye. A good book does not simply tell you about a place. It immerses you in it so completely that, for a time, you forget the distinction between the real and the imagined. This is why a quiet corner in a book can sometimes feel more alive than the busiest street. What's more, books invite you to become more than just a spectator. They hand you the keys to the world they create and ask you to step inside as a participant. When you read, you are not simply watching events unfold. You are feeling the tension in a character's heartbeat, walking their path, wrestling with their choices. This immersion gives you a freedom no physical journey can replicate, because here you are not bound to your own life's limitations. You can live countless lives within the span of a single afternoon. Through these flights, books offer something rare, the ability to see beyond the horizon of your own experience. They let you understand lives and perspectives far different from your own, dissolving the invisible walls between you and the rest of humanity. And each time you take this journey, you return not just entertained, but changed, carrying new pieces of the world inside you, pieces that you can never truly unsee or unfeel. The journeys a book offers often begin outward, toward distant lands, unfamiliar cultures, and extraordinary events. But the deeper and more lasting voyage is the one that turns inward. As you read, the words on the page are not merely telling you a story, they are drawing you toward the hidden chambers of your own mind. The landscapes you encounter may be fictional, yet they awaken feelings that are undeniably real. A description of a storm at sea may stir memories of your own inner turbulence, while the quiet resolve of a character might remind you of a strength you had forgotten you possessed. A book is like a mirror with endless reflections. The characters you meet become fragments of yourself you never recognized. Their hopes might echo your own secret ambitions. Their mistakes might mirror choices you regret but rarely acknowledge. Even the worlds they inhabit, whether filled with wonder or shadow, often parallel the landscapes of your own thoughts and emotions, This is why at times reading feels so personal. You might set the book down, your heart beating faster, because something within those pages has spoken directly to you in a way no one else ever has. This inward journey is not always comfortable. A book can confront you with questions you've avoided, truths you've hidden from, and contradictions you've learned to ignore. In the safety of its pages, you are challenged to face them. It can be unsettling to see yourself in a character's flaws or in the moral struggles of a story, but it is through this discomfort that growth begins. The book becomes a quiet guide, leading you into the deeper waters of self-awareness. At the same time, these inward travels can awaken a sense of wonder that reshapes the way you see your life. You might come to realize that the values you hold, the fears you carry, and the dreams you cherish are not isolated. They are part of a greater human pattern. This recognition can be liberating. It tells you that you are neither entirely alone in your struggles nor unique in your longings. You are part of an unbroken thread that runs through all of human experience. The beauty of this inner voyage is that it continues even after you close the book. The characters and ideas linger in your thoughts, whispering questions, offering insights, or simply reminding you of what lies within you. In this way, a book does not just pass through your mind. You pass through it. You emerge from its pages not only knowing more about the world, but also knowing more about the intricate landscape of your own soul. When you read a book, you are stepping into a meeting place that transcends all the boundaries we normally accept as unshakable. The author may have lived centuries before you, in a country you've never visited, speaking a language you might never hear spoken aloud. Yet the moment you begin reading, you are in direct conversation with them. The gap between your lives collapses, and what remains is a shared space of thought and feeling. In this space, you come to realize that human consciousness is far less divided than it appears. Every book is a bridge. It connects not just one mind to another, but entire lifetimes, cultures, and eras. Through the words on a page, you experience how a farmer in ancient China viewed the rhythm of the seasons, or how a poet in 14th century Persia perceived love and loss. You can follow the mind of a scientist from the Age of Enlightenment as they wrestle with ideas that now form the foundation of our modern world. These encounters are not abstract, they are alive. In each sentence, you can feel the author's breath, their heartbeat, their urgency to share something they believed mattered enough to record. This connection is profound because it is both intimate and infinite. You might be reading a passage that millions of people before you have read, yet it feels as though it was written for you alone. In that moment, you are not merely learning about another human being. You are experiencing their inner world as if it were your own. And in doing so, you realize that the divisions we place between people, between us and them, past and present, are largely illusions. The human story is one continuous conversation, and books are how we join it. There is also a quiet humility in this exchange. Reading teaches you that wisdom is not confined to your own time or perspective. The insights of someone long gone can pierce through the noise of the present moment with startling clarity. Their words remind you that while technology changes, while nations rise and fall, the core of what it means to be human remains the same. The longing for connection, the search for meaning, the struggle with uncertainty. In this way, books weave you into the fabric of a shared human consciousness. You are no longer just yourself. You are part of a chorus of voices spanning the ages. Each author you read adds a new thread to your understanding. Each story enlarges the space within which you can think and feel. And as you move from one book to another, you begin to sense that you are not simply reading history or fiction. You are walking through the endless conversation of humanity itself, carrying it forward in your own life. To open a book is to take hold of a quiet kind of freedom. It is not the noisy, defiant freedom of breaking chains, but the subtle liberation that comes from stepping beyond the limits of what you already know. Every page you turn invites you into new territory, offering you ideas, perspectives, and possibilities that no one can take from you. In a world that often tries to tell you what to think, a book hands you the tools to think for yourself. The act of reading itself is an expression of choice. You decide where to go, how long to linger, and what meaning to take from the words before you. No one can rush you forward or hold you back. You can explore slowly, letting the sentences settle like seeds in your mind, or you can move quickly, chasing a story through its twists and turns. This control is rare in life, where so much feels dictated by schedules, obligations, and the demands of others. Within the pages of a book, you are the navigator. The freedom a book offers is also a freedom from the narrow boundaries of your own circumstances. You might live in a small town, but through reading, you can experience the politics of ancient empires, the struggles of distant revolutions, or the delicate rituals of cultures you have never seen. This expansion of your inner world changes how you see your outer one. It makes your everyday life feel larger, more connected to the great web of human experience. Books also free you from the trap of a single perspective. They challenge the assumptions you didn't even know you were carrying. One story can show you the same event from the eyes of a hero, a villain, and an observer on the sidelines, revealing that truth is often more layered than it first appears. This kind of mental flexibility is one of the purest forms of liberation because it loosens the grip of prejudice, fear, and narrow thinking. And perhaps most importantly, books give you the freedom to dream without permission. They open doors to futures that do not yet exist and pasts that still have something to teach. They allow you to imagine yourself as something more than the sum of your current circumstances. You can be an adventurer, a philosopher, a ruler, a wanderer, without ever leaving your seat. In this way, the freedom of a book is both vast and personal. It is vast because it stretches as far as human imagination can reach, and personal because it belongs entirely to you. No one can take away the worlds you've visited in your mind, the lessons you've drawn into your heart, or the quiet strength you've gained from seeing beyond the limits of your own experience. A book is far more than paper and ink. It is a doorway into countless worlds, a vessel that carries you through time, into the depths of imagination, and deep within yourself. It connects you to minds and hearts across centuries, dissolving the boundaries between past and present, here and there, you and them. In its pages lies the power to free you from the smallness of your immediate reality, to challenge your thinking, to expand your vision, and to awaken parts of you that might otherwise remain hidden. Every book you open is not simply a story you read. It is a journey you take, a conversation you join, and a transformation you carry with you long after the last page is turned.